afternoon. This is the knitting news from Knit Happens Teesside for the 32nd week of 2024. The other night at knitting, Helen was making narcissi, or daffodils, and they're really quite effective. I think she's using double knit, held double, so they won't crush and they'll really stand out from the blanket. Jill was wearing her stripy cardigan, but I haven't got a photograph of it for you because I forgot. She is now making a jumper for the big little person. Did you hear that? There's a bit of a bang outside, and my other half is working on our van. No, it's all right. It's a mower. It's a stripy jumper made with Drops Cotton Light and King Cole Baby Alpaca. So the Cotton Light is, I think it's 50-50 cotton and polyester. So it's lighter weight and is probably easier to wash and things, and might not droop so much if it's not all cotton. And she's missing the cloud. She was going to miss the clouds out and just do the stripes. And as you can see, she's got like halfway up the body in the round already since last week. I haven't really done a lot of knitting, and the other night at knitting I was tinking because it wasn't going forwards, it was going backwards. I wonder if I can explain the issue I'm having. So the whole pattern has this waterfall pattern. Every part of the garment has this pattern. This pattern is made by making increases and then decreases over a few rows. So the stitch count gets bigger, then it goes smaller, then it gets bigger, then it goes smaller. And when you're told to increase every 7th row and you're working on garter stitch, it's easy to count in twos, isn't it? And it was quite difficult to count in odd numbers. So I've started the second one and just marked my rows off while I was doing them to make sure I was doing the right amount of rows. This is the second one. Do I wait until I've done the decreases, or do I take this as being, because it's over the amount of stitches I need now? Is this making sense? But it will go back down on the decrease row. It'll go back down to the right amount of stitches, but that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows time, which would be about ½ an inch. So the baby's mum's tall and dad's tall, and dad was a long baby. So I might go with the ½ an inch, might be all right. But this is the sleeve I've already done. You know when you're winging it and you think you're doing the right thing? I mean, it's a while since I've seen, well, it's not, I saw a baby yesterday, but I don't know how old it was. So I'm doing 3 to 6 months, and it's nothing on the pattern. I don't think there's anything in my pattern that says, I'll put the name. The name was on the last video, I think, but or the one before, but I will put it in the description, the book. Lullaby Knits, it's called. So that's the sleeve I've already done, and we've got, there will be an inch difference in the second sleeve and the first sleeve. And one of the reasons I questioned it was because I was getting so that I was playing yarn chicken. So I thought, rather than playing yarn chicken, I will double check all my measurements. But I don't think there is. What's always nice to have in a pattern is a diagram, isn't it, with the measurements on? Or it could just say, and because it says the amount of stitches, it could just say knit until the sleeve measures so long, which would account for absolutely everybody's tension issues. And yes, it is to tension, but I'm still lost. So, beautiful pattern, beautiful book, but a little bit confusing on that bit. So that's that. I've had a very exciting weekend. Well, yesterday was. Helen and I went to the North East Wool Show, which is at Newcastle Racecourse, which is a lovely place. It's a really nice venue and the parking's good as well. So there's a downstairs and there was all these stalls. And it's the second year. So last year we went, 3 of us went. Andy came along as well, which couldn't make it this year. And then that was the downstairs, I think. Yes. And so if you look on here, in the corner there's the Durham Guild, Tyndale Guild and Durham Guild of Spinners, Weavers and Dyers. So the first time I went to the Guild was last December. So I hadn't been going for very long. And the first time Helen went was, she came along with me in the January because I told her how good it was. A few people were a bit poorly this weekend, so they didn't find it that they were able to go. We'd already said we were going, so they have a stand. I'll put pictures on, obviously. And so we went to help. Helen made all of the little dowling rods with to display the sheep breeds, all the different sheep breeds. And I took my spinning wheel, and my spinning's improved quite a bit, even though I am still really a beginner. So I told everybody I was a beginner, which really encouraged some people to come along to the group, and I think we're going to get some new members very soon. So we meet the first Saturday of every month, and everybody's very enthusiastic about the crafts. There's a lot of knitting and crochet too, and there's quite a lot of people spinning and weaving. So some people made a beeline for our stand, and other people just came across us. And I think with it being a relatively new wool show and near a city, a lot of people just came along to have a look. So I'm used to going to these wool shows, but I'm used to going looking around, and I'm used to seeing the demographic of the people that are there, and they're usually sporting something they've made. But there seemed to be a lot of the general public at this one. And I suppose it would be interesting, wouldn't it, to have a look around, whether you're interested in doing the needlework or not. So that was interesting. And the other thing that was interesting was just seeing the place from a different perspective, rather than being somebody who mulls over every stall. And I really did have a quick whoosh round, a couple of whooshes round, and I did buy some nice bits and bobs that I'm going to show you. But I'd never talk. I mean, I know I do these videos, but I'd never talk so much. It was so interesting to see the place from a different perspective, from not being a shopper particularly. It was just completely different. We did get approached on a couple of stalls to help when we weren't on our own stall because we had pinnies on. And I got a little bit of footage of me spinning on the stall. Oops.
Sorry. No problem.
She's like, I recognise those voices.
Helen was learning to use a drop spindle. A lady from is it Tynedale? I'll just double check. Tynedale Guild of Weavers, Spinners and Dyers. They're called Weavers, Spinners and Dyers, and we are called Spinners, Weavers and Dyers. Well, a lady from their group showed Helen how to use a drop spindle. So that wasn't too much of an investment for her to go and buy one when she was there, which she did. I had lent her mine, which I've never really got away with, and it's a bottom weighted one that's quite heavy. And apparently the easiest thing to learn on is a top weighted one that's quite light. So she bought herself one and some fleece. So she had a little bit of a deliberation over these fleeces. And I don't think she chose any of those. I think she actually chose a purple one. Must be my influence. Today I am drinking, surprise, surprise, black coffee with caramel. Because obviously it's the same bag as last time. Oh, there's a hair stuck in that. That's nothing unusual, is it? I am wearing Eliza, which you may have seen before. My phone is really distracting me because it's slightly wonky, but I think my video's okay. Should it be like that? I don't know. It won't go straight. It's not a very good accessory that's holding it. So this is Eliza that's made with one ball of, can't remember, but it's by Anna Canalis, so you could have a look. There are different lace sections. It always looks better when you give it a bit of a stretch, doesn't it? There are different lace patterns and lots and lots of little beads. And I must say, I thoroughly enjoyed making this. I don't use it much, but I took it along yesterday because our aprons are purple. So I went for a purpley sort of thing with a touch of green. And I've decorated my spinning wheel just because I want it to be mine and I want it to be colour coded and maybe even send a message out to those that understand. Right, well, it's been a little bit of an up and down this week as well. I'm going to include, I might put a little slideshow in actually of the different stalls, and because I took quite a lot of photographs while I was there. exciting thing this week was I had a special delivery. I've done everything on an iPad and a phone so far. I do have a computer that only gets used for invoices, and it's absolutely obsolete and hasn't been connected to the internet for a number of years because, well, son was using all the broadband on his gaming, so we plugged the Ethernet cable into his game so we could all have an easier time and we could all use what was left of the bandwidth. Maybe that's how it works. I'm sounding like I know. So I've bought a new computer, and it is rather large screen that I just opened. I mean, this is new to me. This might sound absolutely normal to you, but it's a 27-inch screen, and if I open something on it, the screen is just a normal computer size. So then I open something else and I can also see that. So it's just like, and it's connected to the internet. So that's, if this editing looks any different, it will be because I've managed to use the new computer. Now, I haven't spent a fortune, and nothing's been dug out of the earth or processed or manufactured or shipped, because it is, well, it's only been in a van to my house. It's a reconditioned item. So then I was worrying, should I have bought a newer one? Is it going to be obsolete? I was absolutely worried sick, because partly because I thought I'd made the wrong purchase, and partly because it was very well packaged with this inflatable packaging, which my husband took a knife to. I was like, why are you doing that? I haven't even turned it on yet. Being busy. So the box is still downstairs with some of the packaging, but I think I'm going to get away with it. So far, so good. Now, that was exciting and a bit stressful, but never mind. So the things that I bought at the North East Wool Show, I bought this copy of Ply, which is a reference copy, and actually bumped into somebody who used to go to an old knitting group, and she was in the Tyndale Spinners, and I didn't know she'd joined the Tyndale Spinners, and I haven't seen her for years. So Amy, she was there, so that was nice to bump into her again, and she had a copy of this. So she said, have a look. So I had a really good look through it, and it is really, really informative. Especially to a beginner. I mean, once you know, don't you? But I don't know. I don't know all these things. It's got different drafts. Because I am spinning, but I don't know what spinning I'm doing. Not particularly, but it's coming out all right. Making a leader. I think I know that. There's something here about how your ratios work, and it's very simple, but I don't really understand it yet. It also had in it a tool. Oh, I am waffling on a lot, aren't I? Actually, it's not that long. So I bought this, which will tell me how much twist I've got per inch. I think S twist and Z twist. Have to learn how to use it, but it looks like it's very useful. And on the other side, it's got your wraps per inch and obviously the measures. So that's handy to have in your bag. And just in case I can't find that when I want to measure something, I bought this bamboo ruler, which is very narrow. Oh, I've made it go on a lot more. Oh, you're thinking. It's just really narrow. 20 centimetres long. The 10 centimetre one was the same price, and it's only just over, it's a centimetre and a quarter wide, so it's like handy to just have in your bag. So that tickled my fancy. Oh, I've straightened you up again a bit. Right. The other thing that I couldn't resist. Now, I don't tend to use big stitch markers because they can get tangled in your work, can't they? But look at these. They're like iridescent pussycats. I think that's focused. And I couldn't decide which ones to buy. So I bought them as well. And that's nearly it. I didn't spend too much. I could not resist this hedgehog fibres. Wonderful coloured yarn. Absolutely gorgeous. And it is called Insomnia, which is really quite apt. So it's skinny singles. And the lady said sometimes the twist in a single makes your work twist, but this doesn't. But I'm not quite sure. I won't be making socks because it will wear out. I will probably make a shawl, but I have used a single across the yoke of my Zweig, and I do want to make another Zweig. And if I find I have a brilliant coloured skein like this that goes with another yarn to make a Zweig, that's what I will do with it. But I just have to find a coordinating kind of colour for my Zweig. So I've got a few options because I've got a few fancy skeins like that, or it might just be a shawl. And the last thing I bought was from the threshing barn. Enough of these beauties. There is one more. There we go. Enough of these to spin into enough kind of hopefully 4-ply yarn to make a jumper for myself or some kind of garment for myself. Garment unknown. But it's gorgeous, isn't it? And it is called Heatheront Moor. So that's that. That's my exciting week so far. And now I have the excitement of trying to do editing on a whole different platform. So you wish me luck with that. See you on the other side. So that's about it for this week. So more news. Oh, fluff. More news, maybe next week. Do 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 do.